Welcome everyone to the 2004 North Hudson Pepper Festival. With me again this year is Cindy St. Ors, and we are sitting under a lovely awning, a bright sky also with hardly a cloud in the sky. Temperatures unseasonably cool for August, but I'm sure for the people along the parade route, this is a wonderful environment in which to enjoy the parade. And our first unit, of course, is led the North Hudson Police, and they will be followed by the St. Croix County EMS and Hudson Fire Department. But first we have the American flag and the color guard from the Veterans of Foreign War.
Yes.
And we'll take a break to stand here at the moment for the passing of the flag. And you will hear in the background Lee Greenwood singing God Bless the USA, which is very appropriate as the flag passes in front of the reviewing stand.
Well, in between, good morning to you, Ben.
Good morning, Cindy.
Welcome back to the 50th celebration of the Pepper Festival. 50 years, I should say.
Yes, and we're dropping back in time now as we have a Civil War unit that is passing in front of us. It's some very authentic uniforms,
Yes.
not only for the men carrying the flag and the rifles, but also for the lady walking ahead of them. That would, of course, be back 1860 and 1865 was the period of the Civil War.
Well, they're dressed appropriately for the weather.
Yes, they are. There's just enough breeze that you can see the feather rustling in the gentleman's hat.
Well, and we have the engine, the St. Croix County engine.
What you're hearing now, of course, is the Star Spangled Banner being played right in front of the judges' stand. Nice round of applause for the playing the national anthem,
Boy,
which is always a very somber occasion, but is particularly noteworthy in this time when we have a number of sons and daughters from the greater Hudson community that are serving overseas. There's a few brass cartridges now lying in the street.
Really? Boy, they sure have a nice crowd here today, Ben.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Very nice.
I don't think anybody's running away from the sun today either. I think the temperature is such that they're enjoying getting a few rays.
I think it had to do with all the Italians in heaven taking care of all of this to make sure
Well,
it's a good time.
We have with us another military-oriented unit. This will be the St. Croix County American Legion.
Yeah.
And it is there a replica of a railroad car, and that dates from the First World War, in which they saw service in France.
Boy, that's been around a long time,
Yes,
hasn't
it has.
They keep that in every parade we have.
And unfortunately, I didn't take French, so I can't tell you what the legend on the side says. I don't think we need to tell you what unit is passing in front of us right now.
Boy, we keep building on those EMS vehicles, don't we?
Yes, we do. They all look very new, very modern.
Very fortunate.
It's a beautiful looking unit here with the
Oh.
St. Croix EMS, followed by the ambulance.
Boy, and they're all needed.
Well, hopefully not for us soon.
No, but we're so fortunate to have all this.
Oh, it's a
In
wonderful service
Hudson.
for the community, and
Right. And
some
all
very dedicated folks that serve as EMTs.
volunteer as well.
When you look at this whole lineup of vehicles, it would look like we have really an excellent system in St. Croix County.
Yes.
They are throwing candy to the crowd, and there's a lot of kids here along the curb, which I'm sure this is the highlight of the parade for them.
Parade, yes. Well, we've got the fire department following.
I think there are probably several local fire departments that are participating in the parade this year. Looks like the Hudson Fire Department is all carrying with them the local Boy Scout troop, which is troop number 168, which is located in North Hudson, Wisconsin.
Yes. Thank you.
I think we had some candy land on the roof
right, I
overhead.
think we
hope
do,
we don't have
Ben.
kids scrambling up there to grab that.
That's nice to have the Boy Scouts riding on top of that.
That it is. It's nice to be back in the North Hudson Pepper Festival.
This is all Hudson, Ben. Still coming.
More Boy Scouts on engine number 161. Now, this is one of those times when
My.
you don't mind hearing the sirens.
No,
You know it's not someone's facing a disaster
that's right.
or a medical emergency. Here comes the ladder truck, which was acquired, it seems to me, probably 8 or 10
I
years
was
ago.
going to say, I think it was. And much needed besides.
That certainly points out that they are prepared to fight a fire of any sort, from the little pickup trucks to put out brush fires to the ladder truck to reach the roofs of the buildings in
That's
downtown
right.
Hudson.
Downtown with all those historic buildings, if something happens, like to try and save them.
Oh,
Boy,
while we have a brief pause here, I believe we should note that this is a particularly nice occasion because this is the 50th annual North Hudson Pepper Fest.
right?
Actually started back in 1954.
Sure did. It was kind of fun to see in the Hudson paper the pictures from back there at the women working in the kitchen at the North Hudson School. Well, that was after
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
built, because at the very beginning, remember, the money was to build a school. So it was
sure
kind of
that-
fun. My grandmother was in 2 of those pictures, so I really enjoyed seeing that.
I'm sure there's a lot of nostalgia because
Oh,
there were a lot of the
was.
former Pepper Kings in there, and I see that they were
Yes.
gathered this morning on the festival grounds.
Yes.
We just had passed before us the St. Joseph's Township brush truck and their fire department
Oh,
vehicle.
that's
All cooking
exactly.
and rarely getting upstairs, but if they did, they usually went directly to the bingo tent.
Right.
They love
They
to play
didn't see
bingo.
daylight too often during
No.
the weekend.
Now we have the good neighbor, which is Steve and Rita McDonald. And Steve, of course, runs the American Insurance Agency in Hudson.
Yes.
And they're in a vehicle provided by Dave Holt Ford. I think we have the first of a series of Oh no, this is the political one. This is the first of the politicians. How dare I not recognize Larry Larson, the
I was
president of the
gonna
Village
say.
of North Hudson. And Jack
Joint
Bro,
venture,
the mayor
joint
of-
venture here. Village and the city of Hudson riding
Yes.
together. Not even a venture, just a joint union here.
A joint venture.
Yeah.
Boy, are they throwing out a lot of candy.
Ah.
It's not one or two. They're throwing out handfuls. Are these guys up for election this year?
I don't know.
They must have a 5-gallon bucket of
I
candy in
know.
there, the way they're heaving those babies out.
They never have enough candy. Ever.
That looks like a vintage Ford Mustang that they're riding in. A beautiful vehicle with the yellow color,
Yeah.
color of the sunshine.
Kind of like yellow for the banana peppers.
Yes, that's true.
We got a little lay going here, and
Well, I was entertained by the music last night. I could hear that all the way up to my home in North Hudson. It was the Midlife Crisis Band, and
I
maybe
thought maybe you were dancing to it down
I think
here.
I'm a little past the midlife already. But they were sponsored by XL Energy, the Nuclear Management Corporation, and Wells Fargo. And tonight, for anyone who is coming out, we have the Dell Counts will be playing starting
Old
at
band.
8:30, right after the hot pepper eating contest.
Right.
And they are sponsored by the Village Inn Bar and Grill and Cozy Corner.
It's another.
And tomorrow night, of course, many people recognize the Dweebs, who have been a favorite in the area for years. And they are sponsored by the Riverbank, Budweiser, Dibbo's, Restaurant Bar Grill and Nightclub, and Idaho Chucks, the Malibu Inn, Cabin Fever, JR Ranch, and Citizens State Bank.
All good bands. A lot of people. Good draw for the crowds. It's I wasn't down here though last night, Ben, so I didn't get to see how the crowd was, and
And I wasn't either. I was out of town and got back just in time to get the call that we're on duty today, which I appreciate. Gives me the
Yeah.
opportunity to work with you again.
yeah, it's always a pleasure. There it
Well,
comes.
we have coming up before us the North Hudson Pepperfest float.
Yes.
They've had a distinguished year. They started the year with the winning the Grand Marshal's Choice in the 2003 Prescott Days, followed by the 2003 Payne Arcade Harvest Festival second place award. North Hudson Fall Roundup, they had the best float. And we want to recognize, we have here the king, which is Roger Norelius.
Yes.
The queen is Bridget Bardell.
And then we have the
Princess
princess.
Marley Fletcher, Brittany Bouzzard, and Dawn Otteson.
Yep.
Why
Good
don't you
group
give us
again.
some of the other awards that they won, Cindy?
Well, this year they won the Red Wing River City Days Parade for Ambassador Queen Award, and first place in Elmwood UFO Days, and the Queen's Award for the Minneapolis Aquatennial Grand Day Parade. You didn't say that yet, did you, Ben?
No, we didn't. And
Okay.
we also have the Ellsworth Cheese Curd Festival,
This
first
year?
place award for the best float. The first place best float in the Durand Fun Fest. The Cottage Grove Strawberry Fest, they were the best representation of royalty. And Woodsville Sitting in Mai, they had the first place. And in the 2004 Winter Carnival Grand Day Parade, they won the Prime Minister's Award.
Boy,
So,
they've done well.
wow, they
Pretty
had a
proud.
very distinguished representation
That's
for
right.
the Village of North Hudson.
Yes.
And we should mention that there's an awful lot of responsibility that goes with being in the royalty, and we want to recognize the family. So the 2004 royal family, Tammy Norelius is Roger's wife, and their children are Jen, Jody, and James. And Bob and Melissa Bardell have as their family Laura, Jenny, and James. And the Bouzzards, Don and Sue, have Heather, Chelsea, and Haley as part of the family. And the Fletchers, Steve and Diane, have Kyle and Haley, their family. And Scott Otteson and Sherry Clohe have Darcy Strutt, Mike McQuiston, Paul, and Mike as part of their family.
And then, of course, the royalty coordinator. We can't forget about Becky Lixit, who puts a lot of time
Becky's
into
done a
this.
wonderful, wonderful
Yes.
job over the years.
Yes, she has. Here we have all the royal family now giving out beads.
Yes, the royal family's following on four-wheelers, and they're handing out beads.
Handing out
Sue
the.
Bouzzard right in front of us, giving out the red beads, and I see someone else carrying the green beads. Red and green, of course, very appropriate
Oh,
for the
yes.
North Hudson Pepper Festival.
Next, we've got coming up the Hudson royalty. Down on the levee float again.
And this has been a beautiful float that's been around for a number of years and has drawn a lot of awards throughout the communities that they've appeared in.
The 2004 Miss Hudson is Mackenzie Martin. And then we have the Princess Gina Breeden, Ann Patro, and Christy Coulter are the three princes.
And it's very nice to have our sister community participating in our parade again. And,
Remember that festival was the Hudson one was the 4th of July weekend.
yes, it was. A lot of cooperation between these two communities. We have passing before us now a bus that represents the St. Croix County Department of Aging. And unfortunately, that's something that hopefully, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, maybe that's something we should all look forward to enjoying.
That's right.
The
That's right.
golden years and having a bus to get us around,
I was going to say,
find parking places when it might be difficult. It's
boy,
a nice service.
it is a very nice service. It helps, takes a lot of burden off of.
And that, of course, is equipped with a
Family.
ramp so that those who are restricted to wheelchairs also are able to get around the community.
Yes. Oh, got the historic Casanova beverage or liquor store. And I don't know about you, but I've heard a lot about the Nova that they've opened up there. Serves
Yep.
wines and food. And
Advertising widely. I have not partaken yet, however, but
Pardon?
I have not partaken yet, but
Oh,
I've seen a lot of people do.
I haven't either, but I've heard it's a fun place to stop in. Packer, Vikings. Oh,
Well, I'm happy to see that the Packers ahead of the Vikings.
I am too. Do you think that placement was done intentionally?
I don't want to offend our Viking fans, who I'm sure also watching. That it's been a great rivalry between the two teams, and
That's right.
great deal of respect between the two. So while we constantly chide each other about which was better, I think we all recognize that they're both great organizations.
Oh,
It's a little music here you'll hear. You'll recognize
Oh,
Jimmy Buffett and
well, and you
Margaritaville.
know who's singing is Deb O'Keefe and her sister.
Aha.
They do a lot of the singing. Oh, we've got our first candidate that's going by, Jessica King, and she's sponsored by Phillips Plastics Corporation.
And she is followed by the next Queen candidate, who is Stephanie Lestico.
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 Thank you for the correction. And she is sponsored by Studio 94. That's a nice, cute takeoff on Margaritaville.
I know.
I think they talk about Casanovaville.
Yes. Kind of got a little congested here. We've got next Kristen Vanderbroeke, sponsored by the First National Bank of Hudson.
And sitting in the front seat on the passenger side is her father, Al Vanderbroeke. Kind of nice to see the father-daughter combination there.
Well, I didn't know
Getting
that,
to enjoy the
so
parade.
I'm glad you knew that.
I think Al came to town about the same time I did, back in the
Oh.
late 1970s.
Oh, really? When did you come to town?
1979, March
Whoa.
1, 1979.
Really?
Oh, this
I feel
beautiful-
like I've known you forever.
Well, thank you.
But you're that type of person, I guess.
We have now coming before us Lacey Gullickson, who's sponsored by Gully's Auto Glass. And she's in a beautiful red convertible. Today's a great day for convertibles.
Oh, my. Oh, I'm so glad it warmed up. Also, just for the girls,
Yeah,
so
this
they
is-
could dress what they had planned to dress in and not have to switch quickly.
I was a little worried because it felt like August had turned into
Oh.
October, November.
That's right. Next, we have Danielle Pierce, and she's sponsored by Christensen Vision Care. Another beautiful convertible.
You should notice that this morning on the festival grounds at the tent, there are a lot of royalty from across the communities that are attending that were at a brunch. And the sponsors for the brunch were Elizabeth's Fine Jewelry, Hilltop Service Center, Chacone's Liquor Mart, Animal Care Center of Hudson, Mattress Galaxy, County Market, Hudson Bowling Alley, River City Center, Enloe Designs, Mickelson's, Dick's Bar, Caribou Coffee, Abigail Pages, Cindy Cameron, and Pat and Teresa O'Brien.
Oh. Next, we've got the Hopkins Raspberry Festival. That one is always in our parade. They're always so good about coming to ours. It's their 70th annual festival this year. We've got the Raspberry Queen is Angie Barlage with Princess Colleen Gilbert and Lauren Paulson.
Now, this is very difficult to talk over this one. They have
Oh,
some very
it
loud
is.
music, but they are celebrating their 70th annual
70th.
festival, or did this last year, and they've been celebrating for 83 years. They're the oldest continuously running festival in Minnesota. We now have the East Bethel royalty appearing before us, and
We've
they are
got
represented by
ooh,
Miss East Bethel, Kelly Meyenberg, with Princess Jessica Mueller. And I'm missing the name of the last princess.
I
She passed by
can't
before I could see her.
Oh, what we
She was the
can't
junior
see.
princess.
Yes, can't see that.
Looks like Ayala
Something
Johnson. If I can pick it up at about an 80-degree angle.
No. Now we have the Ellsworth royalty. Of course, the Ellsworth, as they say, the cheese curd capital. And we have Queen Mallory Bagenstas, Princess Ashley Plummer, and Brittany Nelson.
And I love those cheese curds.
Yeah.
I love me better when they're fried.
Oh, I love cheese curds. Oh, now we have the little funsters following behind.
That's
The
appropriate
Ellsworth.
that the Ellsworth float is followed by the Ellsworth Funsters.
Not
They're
quite sure what that is. Just clowns
the
for
clown
Ellsworth
outfit,
clowns.
which are following along, passing out some candy.
Ellsworth clowns. Their own little clown club they must have.
Always favorites of the kids.
Ooh, what do we have here? This must be the
This would be the St. Francis.
Minneapolis Aquatennial.
Aha.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we don't have a name for that
No.
young lady.
Beautiful young lady, and
Yes, and she's nameless.
wish we had her name.
Oh,
We're followed that by the Hudson Moms. Hudson Moms is a not-for-profit organization in the Hudson community who offer support for one another and sponsor activities for moms and kids, provide leadership opportunity within the group, and look for opportunities to give back to the community through their yearly service projects.
there's a lot of moms there with a lot of children.
Yeah, and they're pushing carts, pulling wagons, have bikes, all the things that are very familiar to moms.
I guess. Never had a club like that when our children were young.
That's right.
Some days we could have used it. Oh, we have the St. Croix County 4-H ambassadors. And we've got a nice group on
Yeah, we
that
have the-
float. We got David Berman, Julie Bethke, Robin Donahoe, Val Wilbur, and Wendy Roquette.
Very good. Followed by the Hudson Area Swim Association swim team. I see they're carrying some water guns and squirting a little water
Oh, yeah.
on a really hot day. That'd be great.
Yeah, I was going to say, please don't use those today.
I'm glad they're not aiming at us. Coming close.
Oh, no. A little cold.
Wow, look at this contingent that's approaching now. Is
What
this
do we
the
have
St.
there?
Francis Royalty?
No, it's isn't this the?
There are a
I
ton
thought
of
it was
people
the
on this
Oakdale.
one.
I'm not sure. It's the Oakdale Royalty.
Oakdale Royalty. Well,
Oakdale, Minnesota
which would be
Royalty.
Miss Oakdale, which is Danielle McClellan, Princess Alex Cryer, Kelly Prowse, Alex Mewison, Adriana Espinoza, Mackenzie Shepard, Hannah Glenn, and Amy Mewison.
Whoa, Ben, you did a nice job. That is a full float.
Yes, it is. Everybody waving, lots of
I
flowers,
know.
lots of action.
Now we have a Clear Lake float following. We have Miss Clear Lake is Laura Argand. First princess is Shannon Ketchum. Second princess Emily Ness, and third princess Cecilia Nelson. Well, I hear bikes. A nice sound to my
Yeah,
ear, Ben, and I
seeing
bet
as,
they're Harleys.
Do you still own the Harley?
Yes. Oh.
Do you drive it or do you ride it?
No, I ride it.
You ride, okay.
I'm too frightened to drive it.
The distinctive sound of Harleys.
Well, I don't know, but we have some royalty on it on the back, but I'm not sure who they are. Oh yeah. Well, you know what? And they're not all Harleys either.
I just noticed that.
No, they're not. Oh. No. We've got some royalty on the back, but I don't know.
We have coming before us another, looks like a queen candidate, but again, we don't have a name. That can't be a queen candidate. That must be royalty from another
That
community.
must be past royal. Oh, there's got something on her shirt.
I wonder if that's Oakdale royalty.
It's Frederick.
Ah,
She's
Frederick,
the Frederick
Wisconsin.
Queen.
And again, we don't have her name. We're sorry. We have Zappa Brothers front end loader with a couple of folks sitting out front enjoying a ride down the parade route.
I don't think I'd want to be right behind the motorcycles having to ride.
Well, I'm not sure the motorcycles are not officially listed on the parade route. Maybe they just broke into the parade somewhere along
and
the way.
just picked up two of the past royalties from another city, maybe.
Well, we have now Lori Myers float,
Yep.
and Lori, of course, is the clerk of St. Croix County, has been for 6 terms, and she'll be up for election this November.
Yes.
And Lori's walking behind the pickup. So.
Now we have the North Hudson
This would be Cub
Cub
Scout Pack
Scouts.
168.
Yes, Cub Scouts.
Now that's very quiet, that four-wheeler, after hearing the motorcycles go through here.
Yeah. Nice, quiet.
Well, I recognize Ken Mershak, one of the fathers,
There
who's
you are, yeah.
handing out a little promotional material, I'm sure, for the Boy Scouts. This is a
And
great
it-
organization. It's been around for a
Many
long, long
years.
time,
Yeah.
and really does a great job of providing or instilling civic service and citizenship values to youth.
Well, this next has to do with the North Hudson School, or I should say the North Hudson teachers, which we are. It's a wonderful staff and great school. It's nice to see something in the parade recognizing them.
It's an all-blue
Teaching-
float and saying that they're out of this world.
Yeah.
So
Teaching in general is a tough job.
I don't know if
Recognize
that means
them all.
that the sky is the limit when it comes to the qualities, teaching qualities of the North Hudson school teachers.
Could be.
We'll interpret it that way.
I like that.
Now we have Kitty Rhodes float, and Kitty, of course, is our state
Kitty.
senator from the 10th district, and she also will be running this year. She's a native of the Hudson
Yeah.
area, And as an interesting note here, her grandfather, Joe Ritchie, was the first Pepper King back in the 1954 North Hudson Pepper Festival.
And her grandfather was my great uncle.
Well,
See, Uncle Joe.
a real personal touch here then.
Yes, great Uncle Joe. No, thank you.
Well, looks like Kitty has borrowed Tony Zappa's vest, the one with all the peppers on it.
Well, she's got the whole family handing her literature and her stickers, and it's a big family affair, which is a great thing.
This is a big year for politicians to be working the parade route because general elections for many of the offices taking place this November. And hopefully everyone will get out and vote because it is important for us to participate in the process.
Now we have the Midwest Center for Movement. And
This certainly looks like it's a karate or taekwondo group. A lot of youth that are apparently participating in this. We don't have a location for where that is.
no,
but
we
somewhere
don't,
in the community, I'm sure.
unfortunately. Oh, Kaposia Days
They've been
That's
in our
all-
float or our parade for years and years.
from South St. Paul. Yes. It's always a fun festival as well. We have Miss South St. Paul. She's Carlene Johnson and Princess Natalie Patrick and Katie Witt.
That looks like a very sturdy float with the
Yes,
brick backdrop.
I mean, that's been around, I think, kind of like Pepperfest time, the Kaposia Days. I think it's
They have their festival the last weekend in June, so they're probably nearing the end of their parade. Well, I don't know if there is an end of the parade season until the snow flies.
Well,
and even
I
then,
don't
you have
know.
the Winter Carnival.
You're right.
We have with us now the Centuria Memory Days float. And we have Miss Centuria, who is Jennifer Larson. First Princess is Vanessa Anderson. Miss Congeniality is Christina Kralewski. Princess April Knutson. Little Miss Danielle Toner. And Little Princess Brittany Weinzerl.
Well, we have people on stilts. What is it? It's
Yeah, we have a bunch of
Village.
people now that are looking down on everybody else.
very patriotically dressed.
Yes.
And I think it's something said Village Inn on the back on the, and Carboni's,
Yeah. So we have
downtown Hudson.
3 people on stilts preceded
my.
by
Dave
one at
Holt.
the ground level.
Yes, they are. The 3 on stilts are sponsored by Village Inn, Carboni's, and Dave Holt. That's cool. How
2
do
of
they
those
do
look
that?
very young.
They look very young.
So they're maybe
Still
they're
amazing.
trainees, but
I
they're
don't
doing a
know.
very good job of
But it
walking along this
amazes
parade route.
me.
And that has to be tiring, I would think, too.
I don't know how you get on top of them.
I'd worry more about the dismount, I think.
Oh, we have Casa de Palo coming through for the salon in North Hudson, owned by Roxanne and Rick Peterson.
We should mention that the 50 years that the festival has been in existence, it started out to build the North Hudson School, and since that time it has donated to a number of organizations in the community, many of whom help out during the festivals. And in 2003, the donations from the proceeds went to the North Hudson Elementary Parent Teachers Group, the Destination Imagination, Hudson Area JCs, Knights of Columbus, Senior Citizens of St. Croix Valley, St. Croix Valley Boys Choir, Boy Scout Troops 168 and the Cub Scout Pack 168, St. Croix EMS, Networks Youth Ministry, Hudson Hockey Association, Hudson Bandbackers, and the SOS Players.
Did a good job. Now we have the Spring Valley royalty coming through, and Miss Spring Valley is April Spence, First Princess Megan Johnson, and Princess Samantha Kier. And I
just
see
ahead
that
of-
they have their Dam Days, it's
Yes.
called, September 17th
Yes,
through the
and just-
19th.
We missed just ahead of them Casa de Palo, which is down in front of the judges' stand right at the
No,
moment.
I did that, Ben.
Oh, you caught
Yeah,
that.
I even said the owner's name.
Yeah, my wife has told me I've been going deaf, so
I
I
was going to
completely
say.
missed that.
I didn't skip them. What? Some of we've got a little congestion here, so
I was just noticing the colors on this unit that's coming up in front of us. That black with the fluorescent green around the neck really stands out.
yes. Very, very nice touch. They're Maple Grove ambassadors.
Yes.
Katie X,
Bobby
Jennifer
Eckes.
Hawk, and Lindsay Green. Boy, that's very nice.
Yes, those colors are really distinguishing.
Yes, it is. Do you want to talk about any of the major parade sponsorships?
Why don't you do that? Because the parade is always a
Well,
big undertaking.
We can do some of them. If we have to stop, then we'll pick up.
Very
We've
good.
got major parade sponsorships: Auto Stop SSG Corporation, Christian Community Home, Dave Holt Ford, Elizabeth's Fine Jewelry, Gagnon Refractory and Insulation Contractors, Haywood, Carey and Anderson, Hudson Rod Gun and Archery Club, Jason Tritt, the SOS Players, Lake Malibu Apartments, Mama Maria's, O'Connell Family Funeral Home, Sandine Agency, St. Croix Self-Service Storage, Tower Asphalt, Valley Pool and Spas, Welcome Home GMAC Real Estate, Assembly Services and Packaging, Bardell Dental Associates.
Very good, and that's only half of them, so you can
right.
see how many go into the making up a parade. We have
So-
before us now the Hudson Lions Club, and again they are distributing candy, and the kids are enjoying that. Not quite making it to the curb, so we have the kids running out in the street. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem.
Well, we have our next candidate, Lauren Bartos, sponsored by Sandine Agency Insurance. Boy, look at that car she's in.
Yes, that's a
I
neat
don't know
Corvette,
What year is that?
and
What-
she is followed by Tiffany Stewart, which is sponsored by Alwyn's Northside Service in another Corvette.
We have Haley Cameron as another candidate, sponsored by Luther Hudson Chrysler.
And following Haley, and in another convertible, is candidate Mariah Botkina.
Very
And
good.
Mariah is sponsored by Randy Eiton.
Well, I suppose I could read a few more of the major parade sponsors.
Well, we can do that. So some of
Okay.
the other major parade sponsors are Bright Keys Building and Development, Eagle Valley Bank, First National Bank, Freedom Erickson Oil Products, Green Mill Restaurant and Bar, Hudson Chrysler, Midwest Center for Movement, the Burnick Companies, Dibbo's Restaurant Bar and Nightclub, Dick's Bar of Hudson, His and Her Hair Fashions, Hudson Dairy Queen, Lacoste Custom Homes Inc., Mattress Galaxy, Mitchell Hanson Electric, and I'll
now-
take a break here.
Yes. Now we have Katie Michaels, sponsored by Cocobello.
Okay, and finishing off the list is Randy Eiton Chevrolet Winnebago, Steve McDonald Agency, Valley Cartage and Warehousing, and Valley Guttering Inc.
Very
Yeah.
good. We have a lot of major parade sponsors.
Yeah, so we also have some other sponsorships we need to
Yes,
mention.
we do.
We have now before us the village of Turtle Lake. Little Miss Turtle Lake is Miss Gagnon. The princesses are Tasha Mariah and Hank Dietrich. Princesses Leanne Broker, Alicia Henk. And did you catch the name of the prince or the
I'm
queen?
sorry, I did not. Lisa, I know, is her first name. But
Lisa
Dupre.
Dupre. Lisa Dupre would be the queen at Turtle Lake.
Omira Nooney for state senate. I'm Unfortunately, don't have anything on her.
No,
She
except
is a state senate candidate.
Karen
That's
Kane, I would guess
what
that's
know.
probably the 10th district.
Mhm. And it's Elise O'Mara-Nooney.
But I'm not sure. It's the car has a Minnesota license plate.
Mhm.
I'm assuming that's for the 10th district in Wisconsin. Now we have the Osseo Parade. And Osseo royalty includes the Queen Alyssa Anderson, First Princess Katie Owens, and Second Princess Julie Goplin. And Osseo celebrates the Lake Martha Days.
I was going to say, and that's in June as well. Oh, we have a Hummer sponsored by Northside Liquors at Plaza 94.
And they found a yellow Hummer for a fine sunshiny day.
Yeah, another one. And what else is following that?
A gentleman in a gorilla suit, and he's throwing out, looks like cooler packets.
Cooler packs.
And he is riding
It's
a
Packer
Polaris
color
four-wheeler.
anyway.
And we have a commercial unit now before us, which is the Eco Water Systems for water conditioning and drinking water systems.
By St. Croix Valley Eco Water.
I believe we have an opportunity now to pick up some of the other parade sponsorships, which would include the Brand Name Bargains, the County Materials Corporation, Elner's Window Treatments and Custom Closets, First Federal, Savings Bank, Friendly Valley Appliance, Historic Casanova's Liquor, Hudson Dance Academy, the Hudson Flower Shop, Lori Meyer, Remax Team One, and Vikings Electronic Inc.
You know, that's so nice to see all the sponsors that, you know, they're into the
Just that large
celebration
list.
and where all the contributions are spread out amongst the community. It's wonderful.
And the sharing and caring
Yeah.
theme.
Yeah. It's very true. What we have next here?
This would be the candidate for Clerk of Court who is
Yeah.
competing against Lori Meyer, and her name is Marion Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
We, of course, want to mention that right after the festival, the food tent will be open, as will be the beer concession, and the activities will be starting right away this afternoon. So come on down and enjoy the Pepper Festival. Promises to be a wonderful day.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the kids will be anxious right after the parade because the carnival opens up, and that goes on till midnight. What do we have? The Roberts Good Neighbor Days float going by. Queen Sarah Simpson, First Princess Lee Hartland, Little Miss Elisa Jacobs, Second Princess and Miss Congeniality Jessica Rasmussen. They just had their Good Neighbor Days, didn't they? Last week in
No, they're
Robert.
in
No,
June.
that was Hammond.
No, they're doing.
R-
We have the float now from Delano. I'm assuming that would be Delano, Minnesota. And Miss Delano is Alicia Jerde. And the two princesses on the front of the float are Rachel Winsberger and Erin Klinkner.
I like that float. It's just kind of compact.
And they also have the same weekend that Hudson does, the
it
4th of
does.
July weekend.
Ah, you're right. We have another state senate candidate going by, and it's Gary Bakke.
Yes, as we noted, this is an election year, so there are a lot of candidates that are participating in the parade, and it's a great day for them to be out walking the long sidewalks and greeting all the people who are lined up here and enjoying the parade. It's probably one of the nicest days for a parade that I can remember in a
is.
long time because
Not
it's
too hot,
not too hot.
cold.
No,
This
just
is
a
a
very
big
light
parade.
breeze.
We have a lot of units in here, Ben.
Yes, we do. And we see now the float from Sitten Mai, which is in Woodville, Wisconsin, which is one of the first parades of the year. And the queen is Caitlin Jewell, first princess Emily Jacobson, second princess Sarah Bowen, third princess Mandy Binkley. Little Oli is Joe Naraki, and little Ms. Lena is Ashley Wilson. And they, of course, are
Oli.
celebrating the Norwegian heritage of Sitten Mai.
That's right. Now we have the Glenwood City float coming through, and they're pretty blue. Miss Glenwood City is Samantha Casilius, first princess Jessica Freeberg, second princess Samantha Wiskowski.
It's a little hard to read the end of there.
I
There's a
know.
little bit of the float paper that's covering the last letter of her name. But
I have to tell all these young ladies, I apologize if I'm slaughtering some of your names.
well, I think the more important thing is for them to have the crowd appreciate them, to see them, and just enjoy the reception they're receiving down the parade route.
That's right.
Well, here come the Zora Shriners, the little go-kart unit, and they will be performing as they come down, and the crowd really always enjoys this unit. As I believe these guys really enjoy
I was
doing
going to
this.
say, I think you're right. I think it's a little bit of self-gratification on that thing. They like it.
Well, we've been blessed with having them participate in the parade for as long as I can recall, and they are always a crowd favorite.
Never take the boy out of a man, do ya?
Gosh, I hope not. We'd become pretty dull, wouldn't we, if that happened?
That's right. I hate to say it, I wouldn't mind getting on one of those though either.
Well, I'm not going to make any comments. I don't know your driving skills, Cindy, so I'm just going to be diplomatic and say nothing.
Sound like my husband.
The Zora Shriners, of course, represent an organization that has been known as supporters of health and hospitals for those who are suffering with very, very serious illnesses. And they serve as a fundraising arm for those institutions. You know, in all the years they've been doing this, I've never
Whoa.
heard of an accident yet. I've never seen a collision. So obviously they got these routines pretty well worked out. See the guy up front that gives them all the
I
hand
was gonna
signals.
say.
Wonder how long he's been in training.
Boy, they do have that down pat, don't
You
they?
bet. And they are, of course, followed up by their support unit. Got to have some place to store all of these things, and the SUV is and the trailer are where they load the go-karts after the parade unit. And the saying on the side of the trailer says, "We ride so weak legs may walk."
So weak makes may walk.
It's a wonderful
That's right.
cause for which to participate in the parade.
I wonder whoever came up with that idea with the carts.
I don't know. I wish we had a little additional
Mhm.
information on how long the organization actually has been in
Right.
existence. And I do believe that there is a Shriners Hospital in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Shriners are one of those fun groups that every community likes to see come to town for a convention
Oh, yeah.
because they know how to have fun.
The Shriners Convention, yes. I do, though, think, I believe you are right, that there still is a Shriners Hospital in Minneapolis.
Seems to me that last year they had a convention in Minneapolis, and one of the issues that was on the agenda was whether that hospital would continue in existence, because it does cost an awful lot of money to support a hospital, and especially the sort of specialties that that they provide.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they're able to maintain that and continue to have that facility so close to us.
Yes. Oh,
I noticed it on the back of the van. They indicate that the drivers of those go-karts are all from the Wisconsin, western Wisconsin area.
I see that. 8 different cities.
Which is really neat for them to be able to participate in a community event since they're from this part of the country. Well, we have a unit now for the political candidate, Alice Clausing, preceded by a couple of strollers and then a mini van. And Alice Clausing is going to be a candidate for the state senate also, and she is riding the bike that is in front of us right now. And also sporting the patriotic theme of a red, white, and blue flag sweater. Who's this next unit, Cindy?
Oh, it's a Baldwin float. And
Booster Days from
I was
Baldwin,
going to say
Wisconsin.
Booster Days. That didn't sound familiar to me when I started saying Baldwin float for Booster Days. We have Miss Baldwin as Elisa Klund, first princess Katie Schumacher, second princess Annalise Dornick, third princess Allison Larson with Miss Congeniality as Katie Schumacher.
And they have a windmill theme, which kind of
Yeah, that threw me off.
reminds me of another float that has a windmill theme.
Thank you. I thought, ooh, all of a sudden I'm kind of speechless.
Next float is the Hamlin Heartland Days.
Now
and
they
the-
just had their
Yes, last
festival
weekend.
last weekend.
And we have the Queen, Miss Ham and Hattie Bolam, Miss Congeniality's Hattie Bolam,
Ah,
Princess Hannah Schultz, Amy Gabler, Sarah Johnson, and Stephanie Perry. Kind of unusual to have the Queen and Miss Congeniality
quite a
both
compliment.
being
It
fulfilled by
is.
one person.
Yes, it is. This is the Cracker Jacks drumline.
You bet.
Always enjoy them. They're from Cold Springs, Minnesota. And I didn't know it, but it said that they've been entertaining crowds since 1983.
They're a very energetic group, and it's kind of nice to see a young unit. Those
Yes.
are all young people. I doubt there's anybody over 30 in that group.
No.
They got a lot of energy, and they really entertain the crowd.
Now I think they're going to do a little.
We got a beautiful float coming up here from St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. Gateway to the St. Croix River and their festival. Not sure what date it takes place, but the Queen Miss St. Croix Falls is Abby Pauley with Angie Pepper, Kelsey Christensen as princesses.
Whoa, now we got the Republican Party group walking through, and their headquarters are on 2nd Street in Hudson.
A little music with this one
Oh,
also.
I guess.
Trying to understand what that was on the bumper of on the fender, and I think what it is the power unit for the music.
Yeah, I
I think
didn't.
they're running that directly off the battery of the vehicle.
Look kind of dangerous.
Look like a couple of sticks of
I
dynamite
know,
at
I
first.
was thinking that. Thank you for saying it. Boy, they.
And they, of course, are working the crowd also, handing out a lot of literature. Must have 50 people in this group handing out material.
Yeah, they've got a lot of walkers.
Yes, they do.
And of course, Sheila Harsdorf is following.
Sheila's from the local area, too. She's
she
from
is.
Beldenville, Wisconsin, I believe, where the family runs a farm. And her brother Jim used to be in the state senate. Used to be the Senate Majority Leader, I believe. I think he
She's
retired back to the family farm.
And Sheila's in her first term as state senator. Seems like to me longer than that, but
Well, I think that's because she was in the state assembly for a while
Right.
and left that office, returned to the farm. I'm not sure if she and Jim switch off running the farm and then running for office or not,
yeah.
but they're both very politically active.
Oh, here's a brand name bargain vehicle advertising their outlet store, which is located behind Home Depot. And they have just a lot of different things from kitchen supplies to clothing for every member of the family.
I understand that they're located behind the Home Depot in Hudson.
Yep.
You probably noted that we have not had any bands, and that's been one of the
No.
problems in having a late summer festival. By that time, most of the high school bands have disbanded, and musical units are tough to come by, so it's kind of nice that some of the parade floats have their own music.
Some music.
And we have before us now the First National Bank, and this is the American Eagle, I guess. And they've been in the community for a long, long time.
Oh, yes.
Not quite sure who has to dress up in that costume, but it's a nice, cool day today. At least they're enjoying that.
And of course, they're followed by their Beetlebug vehicle.
Yep. That's been in the float for quite a few years, or
Oh.
that's been in the parade for quite a few years. They're advertising that they have branches in North Hudson, North Branch, Minnesota, Stacy, Minnesota, Woodbury, Minnesota, as well as Baldwin, Ellsworth, Hammond, and Hudson, Wisconsin. I think when I came to town, they only had one bank in downtown Hudson.
Probably.
So they've been going through a real
It says
expansion.
140 years.
I believe they're probably one of the oldest banks in the area
Yeah.
and one of the largest. And as you've noticed, as Hudson has grown over the years, the number of banks in the community is also growing.
Oh, yeah. Got quite a few. We have the Knights of Columbus coming through, throwing some candy for the kids. Another wonderful organization
Yes, and
helping
they-
handicapped citizens.
Seems to me that their specialty is Tootsie Rolls, and notice that on the float behind us, they have
Right.
the giant Tootsie Roll.
Yep. Oh, Ben, we got a lot of unicycles following the Knights of Columbus. Now that's another thing. How do they do that?
I was going to say the stilts and then the unicycles. Both of those would be a challenge for us
I
that
don't
don't have the
know.
greatest of balance anymore.
But boy, we have all ages doing that.
And this group comes from the Twin Cities.
Oh,
And they are representing all sizes and ages. And you notice that some are about 3 or 4
Look
feet
at
off
that.
the ground, when others must be up 10 to 12, maybe even 15 feet. And right now they've formed a line
I don't know how they're doing
in
that.
which the lower units are riding through those who have extended
Whoa.
arms in sort of a pyramid.
I'm impressed.
It looks like an activity for the family because it looks like mothers and fathers riding with their kids.
How do they do that? Look at that young man way up on top.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's got to be up there at least 12 to 15 feet, I would guess.
oh,
Ah, that was a neat trick. The
I missed
gentleman
it.
had it laying down on the pavement. He ran at it, jumped on it, stood up, and started pedaling from a dead
it's
stop.
only pedaling with one foot.
He's obviously been doing this for a while.
He must. You're right.
What do you guess? There must be 25 or 30 of them, are there not?
I don't know. Looks like a fun group. They're
Yeah.
having a good time.
I'm glad it's not raining because that would not be so much fun, I don't think, in the rain.
No, no.
I definitely want dry payment in it.
What do we have? The River Falls float coming through. The city of the Kinney, as it says. That's always a refreshing looking float. Who's their royalty we've got here? Laura Haskins, Sheena Thompson, and Tara Putzi.
Now we have a little music coming up with this would be the Anoka float, I believe, when
Yes.
Anoka celebrates Halloween, has been doing so for 83 years.
Yikes.
An interesting note here, they say that the royalty, who are Aaron Britton, Kate Sorensen, and Megan Canny, can't wait to stuff their faces full of spaghetti.
Brave young ladies.
Yeah, which is the spaghetti eating contest among the royalty has become a very interesting and much watched event. And hopefully they have been dieting so that they can tolerate stuffing down that spaghetti and not having it go directly to their waistline.
And I see their festivity takes place in October,
Yes.
of course, because it's Halloween, as you said.
See the gravestone they have there? The buried there is Frank, middle initial N, last name Stein. Frankenstein.
That looks like a new float, doesn't it?
It's got a little special effects. It's got a little smoke coming out the side.
It's real. I don't recall it ever being so
I think
themed so Halloween. I think
that's a new
it's
float,
new.
I believe.
I think it is too.
I think their old float just was loaded with pumpkins and with a
Something
black and
like
orange
that.
color, but I don't remember the smoke. I don't remember the haunted house. So
No,
they've really done a nice job in coming with the new float.
very nice. Oh, this is the Invergrove Heights royalty. They've got those girls walking.
Strutting their stuff. I noticed that one is in high heels, one in medium heels, a couple of them in tennis shoes.
Boy, we got a lot of names. Mallory West, Krista Iwachi, Hannah Taylor, Julie Steber. It's kind of hard to read, isn't it?
Very difficult to read. They've done those names, almost looks like calligraphy.
I don't know.
I suspect that each girl did her
I
own
would
name.
think so. I think you're right.
Now we have the Columbia Heights royalty. And they're sponsored by the Columbia Heights Park and Recreation Department. And this also has a large number of people. We have, looks like,
Good
7
luck.
people on this float. And the little ones up front would be Casey Yard, Anthony Larson, Bianca Chipoco, R.J. Fowler. And then the royalty up on top include Emma Miernicki, Brittany Fowler, Kylie Mann, and Sally Bollinger.
Good job, Ben. Now we have our Girl Scouts of the St. Croix Valley coming through. Another old organization, being I was one of them. Brownies
I'm not going to ask
first.
you how many years ago was it?
Brownies first. Oh boy. But you know what? The uniforms hasn't changed much.
You're right. And that's kind of the nice thing about both the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts
Nope.
is the sense of continuity and
Yes.
the values and the things that they teach. They really haven't changed.
I think our green was just a little darker.
Wow, look at this float approaching.
Oh. Take the boat. What do you think?
I don't know. I was wondering if this was the Balsam Lake or
No.
this
No,
is the
this is
Aqua
our old royalty, isn't it?
Oh my. Yes,
it's
it is.
our royalty.
Okay, I'm going to catch the
Okay.
Boat. You catch the truck.
Oh, thank you. I think it's all right there on the truck. You go for it, Ben.
All right, here on the truck we have Jerry Cameron, the 2003 Queen, and 2003 King Dave Prissel, 2003 Princess Haley Lindback, Princess Katie Caruso and Alexandra Zappa.
And look who we got in the truck, Ben. Louis Ritchie.
Louis Ritchie.
And
Tony Zappa.
there's Tony.
And here are the past
these
kings.
are all the guys.
There's a ton of
it's
them.
too many.
Yes.
Too many. I don't want to start and forget any of them. Oh, my.
They're all wearing past kings and the year on the back in which they were the king. That's a grand float.
I'll take the boat.
I think you made a wise decision.
I recognized a few, but I figured I'm not going to say anything if I don't know them all.
Well, we hate to
I don't
cheat
want to
any one of
do
them.
that, yes.
But they're all enjoying themselves, having a wonderful morning in the sun.
Yes.
Next, we have the commercial float, which is sponsored by the Citizens State Bank, and they are celebrating 100 years of service to the community.
But, you know, I had to be a little prejudiced when I did name off Tony and Louie because they are the Italians in Hudson that got this thing going. So,
Well, they have been associated.
full-blooded men. I had to do it. Full-blooded Italians.
Well, they have been associated with the Pepper Festival
That's right.
since its inception, so I think it's
So, it was fitting.
not undue not to mention
No,
them.
no. You took care of the Citizen State Bank, Ben?
Yes, we did.
Okay. What do we got here? Idaho Chuck's Wood Grill.
Well, they have candidate Samantha Hesse,
Yep.
who is the Queen candidate, sponsored by Idaho Chuck's. Idaho Chuck's, of course, being located in North Hudson.
That's right.
Looks like they may have two
I was going to
candidates.
say, oh, they do. They are. We've got Sarah Grant as another candidate.
Mhm. Idaho Chucks, of course, are located up near Tom Thumb, and they specialize in wood grilling
Oh, yeah.
of steaks, chickens, and fish. I say chickens.
Chicken.
Chickens. Steaks,
Chicken?
chickens, and fishes. I'm pluralizing everything.
Oh, now we have Nicole Stadler, who's sponsored by Bardell Dental Associates. Now I think we're going to have a run here on our
Yep, several more Queen candidates here.
Yes.
And we have a another Mustang here with the candidate Caitlin Oliveri, and she is sponsored by Elon,
Mm-hmm.
or Elan if they pronounce it that
you
way.
were
I'm
right,
not quite sure.
Elon. Now who we have here, Ashley Graw, sponsored by STS Network Services.
And right behind her would be Queen candidate Ashton Hannock,
Mm-hmm.
and Ashton is sponsored by the Village Inn of North Hudson. And of course, Kent Wolf of Village Inn has been very involved in Pepperfest activities over the years also.
Yes, he has.
I have to mention Ken because he sponsors our pepper eating team.
He is very generous. Got the Cambridge float is coming through here.
This would be the unit from Cambridge, Minnesota. Cambridge, of course, is located on the Rum River, which is about an hour north of the Twin Cities. And we have here three ambassadors. We have Joanna Radzizan, Lindsay Tillman, and Aaron Smith.
That's right. Uh-oh, we've got Klondike Kate.
Oh, here's a very entertaining float. The Royal Order of Klondike Kates from the St. Paul Winter Carnival. We have Klondike Kate of 2001, Wendy Mazoff, of 03, Kim Sakulis, of 04, Carrie Schaff, and 97, Shar Salisbury. And all of these have charmed miners, supposedly, from the days of the Klondike gold rushes in Alaska.
Right.
So from the saloon to the streets of North Hudson, what a wonderful trek.
That's what they say. They're sassy, saucy, sultry, singing mistresses from the St. Paul Winter Carnival.
And these are all ladies who have to compete for this position. So to be
That's
selected as a
right.
Klondike Kate is a great
I was
honor.
going to say, it sure is. Now you've got the St. Paul Winter Carnival
Yes,
royalty
and we're going to
coming
have quite
through.
a few people here from the St. Paul Winter Carnival. This
Let
first
you
float, we
go.
have Roger Vanelli, who is the Prince of the North Wind, and Ellen Anderson, the 2004 North Wind Princess.
That's right.
And they are sponsored by Vanelli's Wright Street Rec and the City of Roseville. I
Got quite a
believe these
few
are
cars
probably
coming through.
all princesses or Royal Guard members that are distributing beads to the crowd.
Right. Yeah, that is all the guard. You're right.
Of the guards, we have Randy Gould, Bjorn McGillen, Brian Hardy, Chris Ruck, Steve Barnes, Mike Kunert, Dan Johnson, and Ed Cortinas.
Good job. Who we got next?
Love this
walking
guy's
here?
shoes.
Oh,
I
that's
wonder if those
Prince
come in
of the East Wind.
I wonder if those come in size 16.
Mike Boosie.
Mike Busey and Christine Nosek
I
in
was going
that
to say, I
vehicle.
couldn't read her name.
Followed by Terry Alberg and Jim Quant, who represent the Southwind
Southwind.
Princess and Prince.
Southwind, the Southwind Prince is on his way here in the red outfit there. He's kind of traipsing along here. Now we have the Queen of the Snows, Jennifer Sherry, and we've got, I don't see Boreas Rex though. We have King Kathy Zwig, the 2004 Prime Minister.
It'll be John Bennett, who is the big kahuna. He is
Where
King
is
Boreas
he?
Rex.
I don't know
I'm
where
not
he
sure
is.
if he was driving or if he's walking alongside the vehicle.
Oh, there he is walking right there.
Ah, here he is.
There he is.
So that would be John Bennett, and he
Yes.
is King Boreas Rex for 2004. And we have Queen of the Northlands, Sheila Belting, and the Winter Carnival is sponsored by the St. Paul's Park and Recreation Department. Here are some of the
We've
other
got some
royalty.
past royalty
Yep.
for Winter Carnival.
Prince of the Four Winds and Princess of the Four Winds would be Marvin Wolf and Eileen Kath.
Mm-hmm.
Now the real crowd pleasers are coming up behind them, and that would be the Vulcans.
The Colmer Vulcans.
Yes. A little history on the Vulcans. They've
Oh,
been in
yeah.
existence since 1866.
1886.
1886.
Mhm.
You are absolutely right. They bear the distinction of every year dethroning King Boreas and bringing summer back to St. Paul and also North Hudson.
That's right.
Okay, he's a very threatening fellow. He's brandishing his sword. Peace be to you guys. The Vulcan Bee.
Oh.
Cindy, my
Oh, I
partner,
like that
is properly
better.
being decorated by
Thank
the
you.
Vulcans. Getting a little of that black set. And we
Thank
have,
you.
of course, the 1998 Vulcan crew family and royal family.
We even got buttons, Ben.
Very good. Winter
Yes, we
Carnival, of
did.
course, has been a wonderful event in the St. Paul community, going back, as we say, to 1886.
That's right.
I got
Thought maybe we would see our friend on one of these. Gary Hyder,
Yes,
past King
it's a
Boreas.
possibility.
I don't know.
They, of course, had the. There he is. Gary's on the back of the
Jeez,
band.
I just said that.
Just mentioned his name, and there he'd be.
Isn't that funny?
Gary was a past Winter Carnival, the Boreas Rex.
Yep. He was for
What about
2000. Was
2000?
it 2000? Yeah.
2000, 2001, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The Vulcan crew also gets the pleasure of destroying the Winter Carnival castle. And they did have a castle this past year, which I got to go down and view. It was a very beautiful thing. We have Miss Payne Arcade now, and the queen is Lauren Riley, and princess is Jennifer Stakowiak.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we have
We have the Democratic Party now.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the St. Croix County Democratic Party, promoting their candidates, and also the legislation that has been passed by Democratic administrations over the years. And they, as Republicans, have a lot of people that are
Sure
walking the
do.
route as well as riding on the float, passing out the literature, sponsoring the candidates for the Democratic Party. The next unit again is a printing unit, Helmer Printing. And this is a company that's probably making a lot of money in an election year because there's a lot of candidates that have material printed.
There sure is. I think Helmer Printing from Hudson?
I
or
don't
River
know where they're from.
Falls. I'm
Not familiar with that.
fortunately. Now we have the Palaha vehicle going through.
Dennis Balaha, of course,
Yes.
is a candidate for the 10th District. Must be a lot of candidates
Oh,
running for the 10th
man,
District
there
this
sure
year.
are.
Seems like there's been 4 or 5 that have come down the parade route.
We have the Woodbury float going through, coming through here.
Little 1950s music,
Wow.
Baby Love. And they have a lot of young kids on this float as well as royalty.
Our over-the-border city, Woodbury.
No, it's easier to take these readings from front to back because we have a little more time that way. Little Miss Woodbury is Ashley Rodriguez.
go.
Little Princess Erin Sanislow. Linda Nordstrom is the senior queen. Senior princess king is Dick Kwan. Woodbury Princess is Sarah Steigoff, and Miss Woodbury is Nicole Wilebski.
Oh, good job.
Looks like they're from
A lot of
Woodbury
family
Days.
members on that one.
Not quite sure when it is, but I think it's in
It's
August.
August 27th. It's next
Would be next weekend.
weekend.
It's like
yes.
next week when it'll be their festival. And we have the riverbank, which interestingly bills itself as the biggest bank in North Hudson. And when I looked at that, I said, "My God, it's the only bank in North Hudson." They're right; it is the biggest.
The biggest and the only.
And they are a full-service bank which handles mortgages, insurance, and investments. Try to satisfy all your financial needs.
What do we have coming up here? The Elmwood float. What is
Elmwood,
that?
just down the freeway from us.
And it's the home of what?
Well,
What is it? They always talk about Elmwood. The
you caught me dead. I have
not
absolutely
like
no idea.
flying it's
But
Oh.
Miss Elwood is Catrice Tubbs, Princess
I don't know, Lynn.
Ellen Krug, it looks
Lynn-
like,
Lynn
and
Krug.
Becky Clafton and Alicia Hoyt. Again, those are names that were put together by, it's UFO Day.
Thank you.
Gotta wait to the back of the float to see that.
I was trying. I thought, I know it's Elmwood. UFO.
Does this mean that you've gone there searching for UFOs
No.
when they have their
no.
days?
Mm-mm.
That was the last weekend in July.
No, haven't done that.
Must be a particularly good time of the year to see UFOs.
Oh, here's the dance. The Hudson Dance Academy. It's owned by Carrie Lemko. And that's located downtown Hudson. And they offer ballet, tap, jazz, and modern dance for all ages.
Yeah, and I believe we're getting the modern dance here. The asphalt's probably not the best place for doing tap dancing or wearing tap shoes.
No.
I noticed the one young lady is wearing slippers. Look like bathroom clogs, and I think those would be a little hard to dance in
That's a
too.
little tough.
I believe I heard recently you were taking dance lessons.
Yes.
Are you continuing
Tap.
that yet?
Tap. Well,
Well-
I'm on summer break.
Great.
Starts next month. Yeah.
No, we have the float here from Grantsburg, Wisconsin, which is the gateway to the Crex Meadows area. And Miss Grantsburg is McKenna Merrick. First Princess Vanessa McKinley. Second Princess Alyssa Bornstad. That was Alyssa Brandstad. And third Princess is Tanisha Hallberg. Little Miss Grantsburg is Alyssa Anderson. First Princess Kirsten Olson. Second Princess Brianna Jensen.
It's a big group.
Big group. Pretty color, sort of a light purple and dark purple offsetting.
Next we have the Amory royalty coming through. And we've Miss Amory is Elizabeth Stower. First Princess Kelly Lathrop. Second Princess Erica Ledholm. And Miss Congeniality. And third Princess Amanda Nichols. Fourth Princess Kathy Crea. And now their festival takes place September 18th.
Right, so that's one that you can look forward to attending in the future.
Yeah, so there are quite a few we've seen, though, that still will be having their festivals. I always thought ours was the latest, but not.
Well, it's actually a very good time of the year with the fall weather. If it's cooperating,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful time of the year.
Yeah.
From the Rice Street in St. Paul, we have the Rice Street Festival Princess for 2004 and 05. It's Holly Lenz and Princess Virginia Johnston. A couple of blondes coming to us from East St. Paul.
Oh, this is nice to hear music, though, like this band. I do miss the bands, so this
Yes,
is
I do
nice.
too.
Bethel Lutheran Church. It's their new song band. How nice.
You're the Almighty One. You are the Almighty One. Your name is holy. You are the Christ, God's own Son. Your name is holy.
It's nice. See, they're sponsored, it looks like, by True Value Hardware.
I'm jealous of the voices. I wish I could sing
Oh.
like that.
It's wonderful.
They're billed as the new song band. We have the commercial unit Squeaky Clean Window Cleaners located in Hudson, Wisconsin, passing before us now. They've only been in business for about 3 years, but they specialize in residential cleaning and pressure washing and scratch removal.
Squeaky clean.
Scratch
Boy.
removal is kind of a new specialty I had not heard about.
I don't know. I never knew that.
We have another float coming from Minnesota. This is from the city of Spud Lake.
Yep.
And they have the huge
City of Big Lake.
City of Big Lake. You're
Big
right.
Lake.
Spud Fest
Spud Fest.
of
Yeah.
Big Lake.
They've got a
And
group.
They have the Big Lake ambassadors Fianna Bring, Alicia Mooney, or Stephanie Quinn, and junior ambassadors Doug Borchert and Jordan Carlson. And the most congenial is Sarah Gaynor. And we've seen this float before. It's
I
this
remember it was the Spud.
huge Idaho potato with the princesses recessed down inside the body of the potato.
Yes, yes.
And they advertise that life is spectacular in Big Lake.
Oh, yeah. Look, we got good old Cumberland Royal Court coming through
Oh,
for
yes.
Rutabaga Festival.
I saw the banner yesterday as it was coming through.
Yeah. Miss Cumberland is Stephanie Brown, Princess Katie Sorensen, Sarah Perry, Heather Paulson, and the junior court is King Austin Capra with Queen Katie Ann Balco. Oh, good old Ruta. Do you like rutabagas?
Now, I don't know if I've ever eaten a rutabaga, and I
Okay.
don't think they sell them at the rutabaga festival.
Oh,
I
they
eat
do.
peppers there.
Yeah, you've done that up in
Yes, we
Cumberland.
have. Here we have festival float from St. Paul.
West
we have
St.
the West
Paul.
St. Paul Princess, Kirsten Sylvester, Miss West St. Paul, Jessica Remhoff, and the West St. Paul Princess, Melissa Marquez. I don't believe that we've had West St. Paul before, so that's nice.
Oh, this is the Hudson Destination Imagination Team. This is a group of Hudson school kids. They compete. They're teams and they compete.
Yes, they do, and they have been very successful.
Done very well.
And this is a activity that's participated in by not only the children but by parents. And adult mentors who work with them.
A lot of work involved in that.
A great developmental activity for the youth.
Oh, they're 2004 world champs.
Yes, they were. I remember reading about them
From
in the
the Hudson
paper,
Middle
the
School.
success they had this year in the contest.
I wish they would have given us something on it so we would know what they won their award for. Well, we've got a
interesting float that we have coming up. It looks like it's from Foley, Minnesota. And on the front of the float, they have a replica of the City Hall and Library. And the caption on the float is "One Moment in Time."
Is that a new addition to our
I
float?
think it's the first time appearance. And unfortunately, unless they have the names in the back, we don't have the names of the royalty on the side. Oh, I see that they do have them on the little stands. So we have Leona Monroe and Michaela Anson, who are the ambassadors from Foley. Kind of tiny print. They're challenging my reading skills.
It's interesting how a lot of them are now referring to them there as the royalty as ambassadors versus queens and princess. That's a nice touch.
They celebrate Foley Fun Days. I've always liked this float coming up from the Osceola, the wildlife theme, the bald eagles, not only sitting in the perch, but the ones in the nest and the one flying. Very colorful float. And the Osceola royalty, we have Miss Osceola, who is Madeline Dosh. First princess is Nicole Rochelle. Second princess is Stephanie Elwanger. Little Miss Osceola is Emily Jensen. First princess is Taylor Gustioni. And the second princess is Lee K. Liefring.
Very good.
Helps when you have a program to work from.
Oh boy. Whiz Bang Days from Robbinsdale. They just celebrated their 57th anniversary in July. And what do they say here? We've got Miss Robbinsdale is Christy Lentz with Princess Missy Gulke, Junior Ambassadors Aaron Dillard, Emily Dorner, Lily Russell, Alex Stokes.
Yeah, this celebrates Captain Billy's Whiz Bang Publications. And
Captain Billy's.
Captain Billy's.
Captain Billy's, okay. Oh, I don't know. Pretty big festival.
That float, by the way, won the St. Louis Park.
I was just looking at that. Yeah.
The friendliest cloud
Queen's
pleaser
Award.
float and the Court of Ashes for the St. Paul Winter Carnival Night Parade.
Well, now we've got the Hudson Hockey Association coming through.
Yep, which says eat, sleep, and play hockey.
Oh.
And you, I, of course, have both been involved for hockey for many years, so we know a lot of the people that are
We sure
here.
do, don't we?
Yep, a very active group, and
Big
we got them off
group.
the ice skates and on rollerblades today.
We spent a lot of time in that, didn't we, Ben? Oh, yeah.
Going back many years, I think about 18 years that I was associated with Hudson Hockey with the three boys going through the program.
Yeah. Yeah, you had 3. I just had the 1, and that was enough.
Yep. Well, it was a great way to build friendships and to
That's right.
pass the winter. Winter season
That's
went very
right.
fast. Here we have our floats from the Anderson Foundation, or I should say Anderson Corporation in Bayport, Minnesota. This has been a traditional unit in the parade. They get to demonstrate some of the products that they have available. A lot of people in this area working at the Anderson Corporation.
We have North Branch royalty is coming through here. We have Queen Rebecca, or it's Rebecca Mosey, and Princess Jenny. I'm having trouble reading her last name. Sunburst, Princess Jessica Johnson, and Miss Congeniality is Haley Ramberg. I'm not sure if
Notice-
that's a C or
No, notice a
What
lot
on
of
that?
lot of units from Minnesota this year.
very much.
Very nice for them to come over and join us.
It is, yeah.
We have the 4-H group now from the Rolling Hills 4-H. And the 4-H's stand for Head, Heart, Hands, and Health.
That's
And they,
right.
of course, have been around for a long time, too. They participate in community service projects. Here we're blessed by our first band.
I was going to say, and guess who? The Hudson High School Marching Band.
Great to have our Hudson youth participating in this event. So the staff includes Megan White and Colleen Carter, the color guard, Ryan McCarty, Nick Heikala, Chris Hankes, and Carter Buford are percussion, Aaron Hilden and Jeremy Mann on visuals, Anika Mann and Nick McCarty stunts, Ryan McCarty and Aaron Hilden are the band directors, and the drum major is Elise Davenport.
Devin, that's right.
They practice, they say, 3 nights a week in June, 2 nights a week in August, and throughout October. And they are traveling to 5 parades and do 5 football games, 2 field show festivals, and they participate in the Wisconsin State Marching Band Championships.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a unit that gets around.
It does. It's a lot of hard work. Sure, we're going to get some play now once they get in front of the judges. Hopefully.
Looks to me like this unit has grown over the years.
Well, it's easier to get a lot of the students together to play, though, at this time of the year because they're back for school, where I think gets a little sporadic at the 4th of July. People are on vacation, so get a
So you're
bigger
telling me
group.
that there were a number of people that were absent in the 4th of July? I did not see the 4th of July parade this year. I was out of town.
No, there wasn't. Who we got going here? Some advertisement from Luther Hudson Chrysler. The Salvation Army. Pay attention there. I missed that.
We have the Sun Control of Minnesota coming up, and they do window tinting in the area. They're actually a Twin Cities firm, both in St. Paul and in Minnesota. Picking up a little breeze here.
Yes.
This would be the float coming up from Durand, Wisconsin. Miss Durand
Jenna
is
Berger.
Jenna Berger. With Princesses Jamie Sabelko and Kayla Brown. They're celebrating their 40th anniversary. You happen to know when their festival
Well,
is?
I was just trying to see on some of their paperwork, but no, unless it's on the back. Oh, no.
They are sponsored by the Durand Lions and the Durand Improvement Development Group.
Our next candidate here is sponsored by Dibbo Cafe. It's Gwen DeRozier. Boy, that's a beautiful car.
Yes, it is.
Whoa.
And she is followed by Katie Lehman, and Katie Lehman is sponsored by Wendy's.
Can't see what. The next we have is Leila Hirsch, who's sponsored by Mudge Porter, Lundin, and Sequin.
And she would be followed by the float sponsored by SSG, Northside Liquors and Holiday, and the candidate is Jackie Zappa, a well-known name in the community.
Yeah,
And you, of course, know her parents, I presume?
I sure do. We've got next here Amanda Johnson, who's sponsored by Custom Logo Outfitters. I am amazed at the beautiful vehicles that these girls are riding on. Oh,
Yeah, the last two are Thunderbirds, both very nice.
I
looking
know. It's
vehicles,
like,
too.
where do they find these?
Well, Dave Holt apparently
Oh.
provided that last one.
My.
Here we have Molly Hinton, sponsored by Hudson Chrysler and by Hudson Flower Shop.
What do we
Here
have?
we have the Volktober Fest, it says. These are the ambassadors, and there are a large number of them on there, and we don't have names, so all we can tell you is that they are the Volktoberfest ambassadors.
What is that? Volktober. I don't. I'm lost on that one.
There's nothing in my script on it. Here we
No.
have the Roseville Royalty,
There we go.
which is
Two-
Princess Carrie Johnson and Sarah Pratt. And Roseville has been sending a unit here for many years. so it's
Wow,
nice to see
yeah.
them back.
Now we've got the Spirit Cellar Liquors coming through. They've served North Hudson and the Hudson community for over 25 years. They're owned by Dick and Carol Fay and John and Jamie Cromer.
And you'll be able to find that vehicle right down close to the beer garden this afternoon, I would guess.
Yeah, think so. Well, we got
Here
St.
we have
Louis
the
Park.
St. Louis Park, Minnesota float. Junior ambassadors include Mara, Ellie, and Sophie. And the senior ambassadors, Mary and Alan. Junior ambassador, Athena, Hyan, and Colleen. And Miss St. Louis Park is Katie. And they have an advertisement on the back for Pepperfest. Says hot, hot, hot.
Pepperfest, hot,
Thank
hot,
you,
hot.
North Hudson.
Isn't that nice?
Next unit is the Hudson Boosters. And of course, they've been in the community for a long time, providing
Excuse me.
opportunities for our youth.
That
They
went right
sponsor
into the mic.
football, baseball, the egg hunt, and the 4th of July celebration. And they are
Raider Pride.
pulling the float for Raider Pride.
Oh, they sure are.
A couple of large trophies there. They've supported Hudson sports for many, many years. They really run the feeder program for the high school.
Things are moving a little fast here all of a sudden. Great strides.
Great strides, and they are apparently from Willow River. And they're distributing the frozen popsicles to the crowd. A popular item.
What do we got here next? Oh, Applegate Property Management is coming through here. It's an old race car.
And they apparently are sponsor races in the local community.
You must.
Probably up at Cedar Speedway, I would guess.
Looks like it.
We do want to remind everyone again to come on down to the fairgrounds and participate in the activities this afternoon. As I mentioned, the food tent will be open, so it'll be a chance for you to get some of that good Italian cooking. That
Italian band.
Italian. Well, you can remind me every year. And
I do
forget every
remind
year.
you. I do.
Yep. So Margaret and Hattie have been working along with a number of other volunteers to prepare that. So come on down and enjoy some of that. We have the County Concrete Company from Roberts, Wisconsin, passing in front of us right now.
Can mention all of the band sponsors too: Xcel Energy, Nuclear Management Company, Wells Fargo, the Village Inn Bar and Grill, Cozy Corner, Riverbank, Budweiser, Dibbo's, Idaho Chucks, Malibu Inn, Cabin Fever, JR Ranch, and Citizen State Bank.
You bet. Lots of them and lots of help. And we have the Wonderland Snow Trails unit passing in front of us right now with 3 snowmobiles and a number of young people riding on those snowmobiles.
Think snow? Oh, please. Last week I was thinking about it.
I'm not ready.
Yikes.
I'm not ready for snow yet.
Oh, it felt like it was going to snow.
There's quite a gap here in the parade, and it's going to give me an opportunity to recognize some of the 2004 working groups. And those would include the North Hudson Elementary PTC, the Destination Imagination, the Hudson Area JCs, Knights of Columbus, St. Croix Valley Senior Citizens, Hudson Area Hockey Association, and PAC 168 of the Cub Scouts, 168 of the Boy Scouts, Hudson EMTs, the Network Youth Ministry, Hudson Bandbackers, the Riverbank, the SOS Players, and the Harvest Time Youth Group. I believe we have Gary Zappa
Yep.
that is standing behind us with his children. Nice of them to be showing up. Hi there. How's that taste? Pretty good? Pretty good. That's quite all right. Look like she's aha. Pleasure to make your company. Hi, Julia. We're going to be seeing you in the parade on one of these floats in future years, I'll bet.
I'll probably be dead by then. This is Cindy St. Ord.
Hi, Julia. I know you're Julia. No, I'm nothing. No, just a local. Hi. I see the Vulcans got you too.
And we have the Badlands Snow Park, which is passing in front of us right now. And they're celebrating their 35th year of offering recreational opportunities to the Hudson community.
Oh,
Snow
that's
tubing,
cute.
snowboarding.
That's cute. Their queen is Peggy Kinney, who's one of the founders of the Badlands.
And she's
Mrs.
being
Kinney,
driven by
yes.
her son-in-law, who's Roger Beavers,
Yep.
who's a well-known businessman in the
Yep.
Hudson community.
Where we've got Bauer Brothers.
Yeah, the
Motor.
sponsored by the Arkansas Fur Fishing Game Club from Durand, Wisconsin area.
Thank you. Oh yeah, Bauer Built Tires. Durand.
It's a major employer
Yes.
in the
In
Durand
Durand,
area.
you bet. Peterson's Yard and Garden coming through. New yard preparation, gravel driveways, wildlife food plots, post holes, lawn and yard work.
We have now the float that is from St. Francis, Minnesota. And they sponsor Pioneer Days in the Park. And Little Miss St. Francis is Caitlin Wicks. Princess is Heather Tallison. And Miss St. Francis is Dana Pankow.
Looks so open and summery.
Yes, it is. They're sponsored by the St. Francis Lions Club and the American Legion and Auxiliary Post 622. I think St. Francis has had a long time tie to the Pepperfest in that we have gotten the tents from a firm in St. Francis
Really?
starting years ago. If memory serves correct, that's where they come from.
Huh.
We have an equestrian unit.
Oh,
Three
yeah.
ponies trotting down in front of us. Riders in their big straw brimmed hats. It almost looks like a Spanish theme and for some reason. And they are followed by some giant, what I would expect are probably Percherons or Belgian horses.
Yeah. Oh, they're not
And,
very happy, though.
No, they kind of want to take a little deviation from the center line of the parade
I
route.
think they're a little spooked with all the people.
This is a triple
Oh.
team, so we have 3 sets of horses here, so that's a lot of horsepower to keep under control.
Look at the size of those.
Yes.
Oh.
Beautiful rigging on these animals.
They're beautiful, all right.
And I'm not sure if this is not the...
This is the Boardman Bypass Reese Belgium's bar, and they're sponsored by the Boardman Barn.
Those are beautiful,
Real.
beautiful teams of horses.
Wow.
The bobtails and the glittering harnesses.
Shadow Creek Ranch is from Woodville, the next group of horses.
This pony that's trotting along and he's following the parade road. He's not tied up. No one's leading him by a
No.
rope, and he's just staying right with the unit.
Guess we're getting time to wrap it up, Ben.
Getting close.
Yeah.
This is a Shadow Creek Ranch in Woodville,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that they're probably associated with the unit that just
Yeah.
passed in front of us
Yep, they are.
and trailering many of these horses. And they do transport, training, boarding, sales, and
Looks
breeding, and also sponsor trail rides.
Whole gamut.
They're being followed by the truck from the village of North Hudson, which I am assuming has a shovel on the back there in case
Ready
they
to
need it.
clean.
Kind of the parade route cleanup crew.
Well, Ben,
I think we're about at the end.
that's it, I guess.
Thank you to the local public television for sponsoring this event, for showing it to the community. Thank you again for working with me.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
As my pleasure.
Thank you. And that's a wrap.
Thank you.